Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Seth's Kitchen. Today I'm going to make a very special recipe that is one of my favorites. I know that you guys enjoyed my last video with the sinigang. Today I'm going to be making a caldereta. It's a Filipino stew. It's usually made with either beef or pork, and it's a very, very rich, very dense meat stew. This recipe is actually requested by one of our good friends, Pauline Gordon, and I wanted to give her a special shout out for that. Anyway, so to start off with, we're going to go over some of the ingredients really quickly and start preparing. So for the basis of the vegetables, we have over here, we have the green and red bell pepper. We have mini red potatoes, some carrot, and yellow onion. I know it looks white, but I've already peeled it. Over here, we're going to have some frozen peas. Cheese of your choice. It's usually made with either like a sharp cheddar, aged cheddar, but you can use any blend that you want. This is actually easier to incorporate with the stew later because it will actually melt faster and be better for the whole flavor. We have some gherkins here, sweet gherkins, a liver pate, green olives, tomato paste, a little bit of onion powder, pepper, salt, and that's pretty much it. For the base of it, I will be using my trusty bone broth again. This is something that I use on pretty much all of my soups or stews just because it's a great, fantastic base due to the fact that it's such a rich and very healthy alternative to using just stock or the bouillon cubes. Less sodium, and it's just way better for you too. So anyway, we're going to start off by getting some of this ready, but first off we're going to get you going with the meat. So first off, I'm going to be cutting up this pork today. Sometimes I actually use beef on this a lot, but I'm using pork today. What we're going to be using is going to be the pork rib brisket. You can get these from the butcher. They're really, really nice pieces of meat, lots of fat, and very tender, so they're great for the stew itself. Be cutting this up. Alright, so I'm going to just sear these off individually. That way, when they go in the pot, they can still retain a lot of the flavor. Put just a little bit of olive oil in here to start off with. It's going to be a medium-high heat. I'm just going to let these sear up and then get nice and golden on each side. Now that these are all beautiful and golden on both sides, we're going to be putting these into the pot that is the pot. all beautiful and brown. So they don't want to be fully cooked, right? You want to just have a nice golden color to it, and then still have some tender rareness inside. The reason being is because it's gonna fully cook inside of the Instant Pot when I'm done with this. And that will get nice and tender. This is just to sear it so it keeps the flavor inside. Put that to the side. What I want to do, bring this over here. Adding some little bit more liquid to that. Using my trusty water dispenser. Alright, about 2.5 cups of water here. Start off with the seasoning, and I forgot to mention earlier. So with this one, I'm going to be doing about a teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder is definitely necessary. We're doing about 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, black pepper, about 1 tablespoon of black pepper, and then sea salt. We're going to be putting in about 2 teaspoons of that. To taste, of course. On top of this, we're going to be putting in the pate. This is pork liver. You can use chicken liver if you want, but this is the best flavor for this particular stew. If you see inside, you can see all the leftover fat in here. You want to make sure you get all of that out. That's all the flavor. Alright, what you're going to want to do is make sure you just mix this all in together. Make sure you get everything everywhere. And the pate will actually dissolve when you start cooking it. And then we're all set. So as you can see, some of these just a little bit above the water line, but it'll be perfect. So we're going to set this up and put it in the Instant Pot. As always, make sure that your seal around your Instant Pot lid is sealed up. Set that to seal on there. Make sure that this is on the seal mode. Coming into meat, stew, we're going to take this up to 30 minutes. And then it's going to start by itself. And make sure that you want to let this sit and boil, stew, and then we're going to do about a 5-minute natural pressure release on it, and then we'll take that out after the 30 minutes is done. All right guys, so while that's cooking, we're gonna get all of the vegetables going. I do wanna say, because I'm sure a lot of you out there are asking, why do I always use the Instant Pot? Well, the answer is simple. It takes out the time down to less than half, sometimes even a quarter for some of these recipes. The Searing that I make all the time, the Kaldereta, these things are usually to 2.5 to 3 hour cook times if you do use the stovetop, which is totally fine. If you have just a regular pot, put it on the stove, done. Easy peasy. But with the Instant Pot, it cuts down cook time so much, and a lot of you guys out there are, busy professionals, don't have a lot of time for 3 hours of cooking, and so you want to be able to come home, make a quick meal, and have it be delicious without having to sit there and wait for 3 hours. So with that being said, I can, and you can, make this in a regular pot, but using the Instant Pot, way better on time. Anyway, so we're gonna get these started. All of these vegetables are gonna be going in at the same time when I take the lid off that Instant Pot. And what's gonna happen is, because of how everything's consistency is, I'll only put it in for about 6 or 7 minutes of cooking after I take the lid off, after the pork is actually cooked. And these will all cook at about the same time because I'm going to cut it up just so that they'll cook at the same time. And we won't have anything mushy, we won't have anything disfigured, or you'll still have a lot of good consistency there, a lot of good chew, and good flavor. So we're going to get this going. Starting off with the onion, of course. So these potatoes, I'm going to only be cutting them in half to make sure that they are the right size for cooking, so that we don't have any potatoes that are undercooked or overcooked. For the smaller ones, I'm just going to put them right in the, you can see these are perfect for going right into the caldereta. These we're going to just chop off the tips. And because we want to make sure that these cook all at the same time, we're going to be cutting them a little bit on the bigger side because we want them to be cooking the same rate as the potatoes and everything else, without getting too overcooked. Like this, I'm going to cut it in half so that stays consistent with what we're doing here. This one I'm going to cut down half as well. So that the skinnier pieces are longer, fatter pieces are shorter. That way they can all be cooked properly. All right, so with all the veggies done, that's all we're gonna have to do for right now until we get the pork out of the Instant Pot. All right, so the timer just went off on the Instant Pot. I'm gonna let this naturally release for about 7 to 8 minutes, and then we'll come back to it in just a few. All right, so we're back here with this being done at the 8-minute mark for the natural pressure release. I'm just gonna open this up really quickly and let that go until it is done releasing. As soon as that's done, we're going to add all the veggies in and the rest of the ingredients. All right, so the steam has been released. I'm going to go ahead and add the veggies and the last of the ingredients here real quick. Ooh, yeah. Just going to take a look at this. So as you can see, all of the pork has stayed nice and firm together, but still, as soon as you go into that, that's actually gonna be super, super tender. It stayed together as a whole piece though, because of the fact that we did do the searing, and so it's not just falling apart, shredding. So we're gonna add our ingredients here really quickly. Lots of these veggies. Give a good stir here. And with the other veggies, we're going to add in these olives. As you can see, these are a medium small olive, so they're not the big green ones you would usually find. These are pitted, so nobody cracks their teeth open when they go to eat them. So I know what most of you are thinking. Pickles in stew? I know, it's strange, right? But it's really delicious. Some of these small ones we can leave whole. Some of the bigger ones we can cut down.
Motion detected at the front door.
I think the rest of these are good for that. Put these in here. Incorporate the tomato paste in here. Get it all nice and mixed together. And we're gonna add the cheese right now. We'll be adding about 2 cups of this shredded. And what this cheese does is it adds a ton of flavor to the sauce, to the broth, but it also makes it nice and thick as well. All right. Perfect. All right. So with that all incorporated, I'm gonna put the ring back on, make sure that's all sealed. And we're gonna start this back up again. With the lid back on, the valve closed, we're gonna put this back on for about 7 minutes. And then it's gonna go ahead and do that and let it cook back up to get the last of those veggies done. All right, so I decided, because of the fact that I have family coming over and I want them to really love this, I added just about a half a packet of the Pork Kaldereta mix. It is not necessary to make this stew. Everything that I showed you earlier as far as the flavorings go is perfect for it, but this just adds a little extra oomph to it when it comes to the actual flavor. Again, not necessary, but I added just about a half a packet of that to it, and also about another cup of the shredded cheese. So we're gonna put this back on. Okay, so the timer's done. I release the pressure, and take a look at this. Looks delicious. Give this a quick stir, see how it looks. See if it needs some more time. I'm gonna test the potatoes here. It might need a few more minutes depending on how these came out. We're gonna need about 5 more minutes on this. All right, so the cooking process is finished. Total on the, after I cooked the pork, was about 14 minutes of cooking time for the potatoes and the bell pepper and onion, carrot. Because they were a little bit on the larger size of the potatoes, because of how much actual broth we have in here, it is a little bit longer on the cooking time just because I had to heat up a little more. So anyway, the last process is adding in just the green peas. We're just going to stir these in here, and these will actually thaw out just with the heat of the soup, and then we serve it. Let's get this ladled out. As always, thank you guys so much for watching my videos. If you like this video, please subscribe, and also make sure to put a thumbs up on this one. Thank you guys always for your support. See you next time.